Good morning, everyone. This is Nathan Lindorf with the Rational Independent. Today we head to the Independent for a very lightweight article. A little bit of silliness today to lighten the mood. So Ron DeSantis announced his presidential campaign. Like I said, worst kept political secret in this year. No one was surprised. I understand why politicians feel like they need to be coy about it, whether or not they're going to run, if there's someone who people expect to run. But it just feels like a political game. Oh no, I'm not running, or I haven't decided yet, or I'm thinking about it, or you'll find out soon. And then when they say it, they're expecting to make a big splash. When it comes to a presidential campaign announcement, I think the worst response can be tepid. I think if you make a presidential announcement and it makes no splash, pro or con, then you know you're in trouble. If you make a big splash and everyone is super excited about it, great, fantastic. If you make a big splash and you get mocked, that's not great, but it's not the worst possible outcome. Most of the time when I'm looking at Reddit and I'm looking at r/politics, I'm looking at the top articles, you might get 10,000 votes, 15,000 votes. Some days you might get there was the other day, there were two articles with 20,000 votes on the same topic, and I thought, perfect. Looks like both of these hit, so let's go ahead and talk about them. The article we're discussing today had over 60,000 votes, and it references Ron DeSantis' campaign launch. Most of it is mockery. It's definitely a negative article, but they're not ignoring Ron DeSantis. We're going to dig into a little bit about the announcement itself, and then we're also going to dig into a little bit about why he's getting so much heat from multiple sides. Headline, AOC jokes, more people watched her gaming online than listened to glitch-ridden DeSantis launch. Apparently, AOC played some computer games on Twitch in the lead up to the 2020 election. Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Representative Ilhan Omar played Among Us, I guess. I've never played it. Call me old. On Twitch, and they had several 100,000 people watching them. From this reporting, it looks like fewer than 200,000 people are reported as being concurrent viewers watching Ron DeSantis' campaign launch. I was on Twitter this morning, and Twitter gave me the opportunity to watch the Twitter Spaces, the announcement, and it said 3.8 million people had seen it. Well, 3.8 million is definitely something that's going to crash servers. That's definitely something that's going to cause problems. That's going to draw a lot of heat. That's good. So I guess when it comes down to it, the numbers depend on who you ask. If you're a friendly audience or a not friendly audience, you're going to get wide disparity of numbers. And we run into this trouble when it comes to ratings or viewership of shows that are on streaming platforms, because there's no standard metric for streaming platforms. It's private information. They can share it however they want or not share it at all. They can slice it up. They can give you funny metrics like, instead of unique viewers, total minutes watched or whatever. And that's worth discussing when you think about it, because we're entering into a world where you have AI generated voices. You have pretty soon AI generated video. You have the ability to create deep fakes. This is all in its inception right now, but give it 15, 20 years, it'll be a mature technology, which means that you can look at a video that shows a politician, which means that it won't be that long before you can be shown a video that sure looks like a politician saying, I murdered his children and ate the babies, or some other just beyond the pale behavior. And it's a total fabrication. And then comes the question of, who do you trust? I mean, right now, we have a world where if there's video of it, particularly high quality video, it's probably legit. The funny thing is, we also live in a world where politicians lie about stuff that's on video because they're banking on the people who listen to them not bothering to go and do the research and see if it's a lie. But we definitely are going to have to wrangle with this technical issue, because we've grown accustomed to being able to verify things. And technology, ironically, is going to disable that. It's going to reduce the verisimilitude of audio and video records. I guess we slide back and devolve into a world of rumor and hearsay and reputation. And reputations can be destroyed, fairly or unfairly. So this article goes through and quotes a bunch of people mocking the announcement as low energy, as Ron DeSantis has an annoying voice, or as embarrassing because of relatively low number of people who are watching it, etc., etc. Those seems to be the three main commentary drivers. What I thought was interesting as I read the article is that it appears to people who oppose Ron DeSantis appear to come from two very disparate camps. You have the ardent pro-Trump supporters, people who are ride or die for Trump, and those people really don't like Ron DeSantis. They see Ron DeSantis as a threat to their guy, and they don't want him in this mix at all. They want to mock him, ridicule him, they want to disappear him so that Donald Trump can coast to a victory and take on Joe Biden as we redo the 2020 election and get our revenge for the terrible injustice of 2020. That's a big chunk of people. They have a motivation to get after Ron DeSantis. There's also a bunch of people who hate President Trump who also hate Governor DeSantis. And they are pillorying him. They are mocking him, and they are trying to get rid of him. But I think for very different reasons. And I think it's because if you look at the polling, Donald Trump is the clear favorite to win the Republican primary. But of the two of them, Ron DeSantis is more likely to beat President Biden. So if I'm on the left, I want to run against Trump. If I'm on the left, anyone who shows the potential to compete against Trump in the primary, I'm against them because I want to help Trump win the primary because he's my favorite candidate to run against. So yeah, 60,000 votes on this article that basically says, let's all get together left and right and mock Governor DeSantis for his campaign launch. Well, campaign launches, sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. I will say that on principle, I appreciate that he was willing to take a risk. I mean, it's the easiest thing in the world to book a time slot on Fox News and sit there and say, tonight, and have a softball interview and say, tonight I'm officially launching my campaign. Easy. No technical difficulties. Smooth delivery, high quality production, friendly audience, easiest thing in the world. But Twitter, for better or for worse, is trying to make a name for itself as an actively pro-free speech platform, as a platform that says, we're going to let you say what you want to say. And Twitter's trying to get out of just the text space. It's moving into podcast, it's moving into video streaming, it's moving into audio streaming spaces. And it's an interesting technology, and it's in its infancy. They're not a mature platform in this area. It's a risk to do your launch on Spaces, but it makes an interesting symbolic position by saying, we stand for free speech, and we support Musk's efforts to transform Twitter into a free speech platform. And we want to be where we can speak our minds without censorship. That's a bold statement, even if it costs you because of technical difficulties, even if it opens you to ridicule. Someone who is willing to open themselves to ridicule in an effort to pursue their principles, that's a politician I'm going to pay attention to. There are things I can't say I'm a huge Ron DeSantis fan. I'm also not a huge Donald Trump fan. There are things that I like and dislike about both men, and both of them are way better than President Biden. But at the end of the day, I come back to one simple principle. I believe in competition. I believe that competition improves the end product. And so I want Ron DeSantis and Donald Trump to go after each other hammer and tongs. I want them to beat each other up. I want them to compete because the fire of that competition will make the end, if you believe in the principle of competition, then the fire of that competition is going to further refine and hone the eventual candidate that represents the party and make them more ready for the actual contest where they go up against an adversarial media, where they go up against unfair media practices where they go up against lying, cheating, and stealing. Like we said, when it came to Mitt Romney, Harry Reid, Senate Majority Leader, stands up a few weeks before the election in the well of the Senate where he cannot be sued for defamation and says, I heard Mitt Romney hasn't paid his taxes in 10 years. That's not fair play. That's the sort of move that should have been repudiated by both sides, but it wasn't. You need to be ready for that sort of move, and a tough, competitive primary fight is a great way to prepare for that. We'll see what comes of it from here, but in the meantime, there's plenty of people willing to sit back and mock from the comfort of their little bubbles. And I don't have a lot of respect for people who do that. That's just my 2 cents. Thank you all for your time. I appreciate it. That's my Red Rant for today. Good luck out there.